Hi there, I'm Dashin Bashin, and the title is not a lie. I have updated a game I made in high school, and it's available for you to play right now. This video is a bit of a look at the history of its creation, and how I updated it for release on itch.io for $1. So if you want to play it, it's on itch.io for $1, but stick around, this is a fun story. So, I was in high school, and I was creating a video game as part of a video game class. We were learning Basic because it was all done in Scratch, so really easily. But I wanted to go above and beyond. I wanted to create a game like Myst, with all the humor of the Stanley Parable and a section that just randomly switched to Ace Attorney cross-examination. I wanted a whole lot. And of course, I couldn't do that. I realized while creating the game's first area that point-and-click games are very difficult to create from scratch, and with the time I had, I just really couldn't do it. So instead, I downsized the project, and I created Cat.show. It's a story-based game, very simple. You solve a mystery, it's short, like a single playthrough can take you anywhere from like 5 minutes to 10 seconds. But the reason for that variance is because there are multiple endings in the game. There are about 7 endings, plus a true secret ending. Ooh, mysterious. Now, the amount of work put into it was an insane level. I went above and beyond everyone else who just created like a simple one-level platformer or score-based games. Mine did a story, one you could finish with lots of options. I also began using little cheats to mess around with the game and the player. I discovered that the game scratches reset flag. Didn't actually reset variables until you closed the browser. So I built the entire game around resetting to go down different paths. I also used Scratch's look inside feature to analyze the code and objects to hide the paths to another set of endings. I did a lot, and it was insane for the time I had to make, and I can't believe I actually did it. I'm actually still really proud of how this project turned out, even if it isn't actually good. The graphics are bad, it's very unclear exactly what you have to do, but I was proud of it, and I got really good points at the end of the year for my project, I believe even 100%. And you know what? I thought about re-releasing the game for general viewership in some form, whether that be a remake through another engine or whatever, but the more I looked into it, the more I realised I'd have to change the spirit of the game, and I really did not want to do that. That's not what I was looking to do. So, I kind of pushed this idea to the side until recently when I bought up the game and the idea to port it to the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl Discord server. I am not joking. They suggested, actually re-release it. So I said, screw it, and began reworking on this childhood game for $1 on itch.io. I initially thought this was going to be really easy. I'd have 2 things I need to do. 1, I'll need to fix some bugs, and 2, I wouldn't need to replace the music. I used copyrighted music for the original project, which was fine in a school-based setting, but if I wanted to release it, I can't use copyrighted music. But quickly, the scope of the project grew massively. Because I decided pretty early on, I wanted to remove any semblance of this being a Scratch game. To any person, this should look just like a bad game. But I mentioned earlier, I built Scratch's identity into the game itself, with reset flags and look inside the game's code. So I had to forget some alternatives. The inside the game code bit was pretty easy. So, because all that was there was just a hint at a different ending. So, I just put that hint into one of the game's endings. But the reset issue, because there's a green flag in Scratch. When you click it, it resets. But like I mentioned, it doesn't reset variables. So I had you going back and selecting different paths. But I didn't want that to appear in the flag at all. That flag should not appear in the game. So I had to put in my own reset switch. So manually I had to go through the game and select different options for reset switches and put what would happen in that, which basically gets the green flag sort of built into the game. It took a lot longer than I expected though. And I also needed its own variables to appear and disappear as needed, so it wouldn't appear on the main tile screen. But once that was done, there were a few bugs I had to fix. I didn't fix all the bugs, I only really fixed ones that would actually interfere from completing the game from beginning to end. So like there was this bug where the typing selection screen would still appear, and like while it was fine in Scratch where it could reset, in a browser in HTML5 form, it did not reset, so I had to fix the bug for that. And like for example, one thing originally as text, it appeared across the screen, that appeared in different places, and it just like, come on, even you could have fixed that in 5 minutes back in the day. So I fixed it to align a lot closer, but I still left it a little bit off, so it still kept the spirit of the original. Then came the removal of copyrighted elements. I removed a fun little scratch editor Easter egg as I couldn't use the logo anymore. And I also had to remove any mentions and names of characters in Ace Attorney segments because, obviously, I used to recolour the characters so they don't look anything like the originals anymore. But then came the music. I decided to initially rip it all from Kevin MacLeod's Incompetech Music Library, as it's good free reviews without credit, and having all by one composer would help unify the score a little bit more compared to the original, which was just any sort of music I felt that fit. So I proceeded to go for about 1 hour, just go through his library, looking at different songs, what would kind of fit the scene of the vibe I'm going for, and I started importing them to scratch, but they were too big. Yep, I faced that issue. In the web browser, Scratch is limit of 50 megabytes per project to kind of like keep file sizes down in the server. However, the offline editor just lets bypass that, but only by so much. Because I was used to dealing with large MP3s and waves, the game's file size just grew exponentially. And pretty soon it just like the Scratch editor was lagging, it was being very slow, and not even that, it was crashing repeatedly. And by the end, I couldn't even save the last audio file. I got all but one audio file saved and working, but the last one, as soon as I tried to save it, Scratch would just crash. It would not allow me to work with the file size. So I looked at all my options, maybe cutting down the music. No, I was already cutting down the music from the original version. Perhaps I could just not use the music. No, the game would turn it off. The game would just be quiet, and that's not the tone I'm going for. So I took the option, I compressed all the audio files, and now the game is at a reasonable size. So hey, I was able to save it, and then I was able to export it. I was looking at a couple of different options. I was originally thinking I was going to turn it into a Windows executable file, but the more I look at that, the more bugs and issues there were. I actually do have an executable, but the standard just broke. And I realised, during the conversions, multiple conversions I had to go through, getting it into executable just didn't work. So I took my losses and exported it as a HTML file available for download now on itch.io. Yeah. So I've made a game available to play on itch.io at a pay what you want payment with a minimum of $1. You can pay as much or as little as you like. I will tell you, it's not very good though. If you want to play the game, it's linked in the description. I've also included a written walkthrough so you can understand how to play the game, because I know it can be vague. I just mainly do this for fun. I'm not looking to really make too much money after this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.